Imagine a crime so vast it lasted 400 years. A crime where the victims were entire nations and the stolen goods weren't just gold or diamonds but the very land beneath their feet. This is the untold story of Africa's stolen wealth. In 1652, a Dutch ship called de Reijper anchored at the Cape of Good Hope. Its cargo? Not just spices or trade goods but the blueprint for centuries of exploitation. 6 years later, the first enslaved Africans arrived in chains from West Africa and Madagascar. They were the foundation of a system that would enrich Europe beyond measure. By 1806, when Britain seized the Cape Colony, there were 30,000 enslaved people to 26,000 settlers. The math was clear from the start: this economy ran on stolen lives. The British pretended to end slavery in 1833, but there was a catch. Enslaved people had to endure 4 more years of unpaid labor under so-called apprenticeships. Freedom came with invisible chains. In Kenya, the British perfected land theft on an industrial scale. By 1902, they had seized 5.5 million acres of the most fertile land, leaving the Kikuyu and Maasai with nothing. They called it the White Highlands, a pastoral fantasy built on graves. Meanwhile, in South Africa, the Masters and Servants Act of 1856 made black workers permanent second-class citizens. This wasn't just a law, it was the DNA of apartheid. Even wages told the story. Shockingly, African miners earned less in 1911 than they had decades earlier. The system wasn't broken, it was designed this way. Fast forward to 1966. South African farmers owed $1.25 billion in debt while receiving subsidies to maintain what they called a civilized standard of living. Who paid the price? Black laborers working for pennies. The 1993 Abuja Proclamation broke the silence, declaring these weren't historical crimes but ongoing injustices. Yet the world barely noticed. Today, the fight continues. The 2024 Commonwealth Communiqué signed by 55 nations finally acknowledged the need for reparatory justice. But as the African Union declared in 2025, justice delayed is justice denied. The evidence is carved into the land itself, in Kenya's disputed acres, in South Africa's unequal wages, in the artifacts Europe still refuses to return. This isn't ancient history. It's a living wound.